This will conclude our overview of industrial private blockchain projects. To recap, in the previous sections, we presented three leading initiatives for developing and promoting enterprise-grade blockchain technology for industrial use: R3, Hyperledger, and Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. Each of them has its own community of members, developers, and other contributors, and they all have their own vision of foundational blockchain technology serving as a basis for further ecosystem development. R3's version of blockchain is Corda. Hyperledger's version is Fabric, and the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, unsurprisingly, has chosen to focus its efforts on the Ethereum blockchain technology and build enterprise-grade applications upon it. The premise upon which Hyperledger Fabric, R3 Corda, and other private permissioned blockchain projects built upon is that enterprise-grade blockchain solutions will operate in a trusted environment. This is due to the nature of how businesses tend to operate in the real world with known and endorsed partners. This premise has implications on the architecture of private permissioned blockchains, which is different from that of public permissionless blockchains like Bitcoin and Ethereum. The game theory settings in these two scenarios are different. Public blockchains, open to everyone, need a complex consensus mechanism with native crypto assets such as proof of work to ensure security of the network. In other words, to ensure that all participants are incentivized to play by the rules. Private blockchains, where all participants are pre-approved, don't need the same type of consensus mechanism, nor cryptocurrency. Instead, other factors, such as trusted business relationships, build trust into the system, which is more of a traditional approach. So, having examined both public and private blockchains, we can conclude that there is a significant conceptual difference between them, and it mainly consists of the approach of how they build trust in the system. While public blockchains have introduced a real breakthrough solution to an existential global problem, how to transfer value among unknown parties, without need for the parties to trust each other, and without the presence of a central authority, private blockchains take some of the innovations of public blockchains such as Bitcoin and Ethereum, like decentralized peer-to-peer transaction settlement and smart contracts, and bring these to a familiar corporate environment of trusted business partners. It can be argued that the pioneering public blockchains introduced brilliant and disruptive technological solutions, which, however, have their own challenges to achieve mass adoption in terms of scalability, interoperability, privacy, and governance. They are, however, the most decentralized economic systems the world has ever known. Private blockchain projects introduce their own solutions to the issues of scalability, interoperability, privacy, and governance that their public peers have, but this is at the cost of less decentralization. They bring some of the benefits of public blockchains to the traditional setting of corporate walled gardens and restricted access networks, but this creates single points of failure. What if a system administrator that is in charge of granting access to the corporate network gets hacked or otherwise corrupted? How many large corporations and government organizations have had their internal IT systems compromised in the past? The list is very, very long. In this sense, we can compare public blockchains to the Internet and private blockchains to corporate intranets. While private blockchain technology will most likely bring great efficiencies and cost savings to the established players in finance and industry, with things like optimizing their internal processes and supply chains, this would still have a mild effect in comparison to how public blockchains might be able to change the world. These two paths represent the difference between a gradual evolution and a disruptive revolution. So what does the future hold? As always, the true reality is probably in the middle. Private blockchains have their own merits in the current business environment and are being designed for user-friendly adoption by organizations in their present shape and form, without too much costly and unnecessary corporate restructuring. On the other hand, public blockchains have the potential to completely change the way business is done as we know it and redesign the economic landscape. To reach that point, however, they will need to address some pressing issues limiting their development and mass user adoption. These are issues we already mentioned, but it's worth repeating them because they are so critical: scalability, interoperability, privacy, and governance. There are a number of projects currently in development that are trying to resolve each of these issues. They are being advanced by the development teams of leading established public blockchains such as Bitcoin and Ethereum, as well as by a bunch of new ambitious projects aiming to lead the next generation of blockchain technology. The race is on, and competition is heated. Who will succeed first? Do private permissioned blockchains hold the keys to corporate success? Will open public blockchains completely change the way we do business and reshape the concept of a business enterprise as we know it? If so, which public blockchains will be the winners? Will Bitcoin and Ethereum preserve their leadership, or will they get replaced by a new competitor? Is it going to be a winner-takes-all game, or are we going to have a more decentralized landscape in spirit with the fundamental principle of this new technology? After all, we already have huge tech monopolies with unbelievable market power like Google, Amazon, and Facebook. Why does the world need to invent a great new decentralized way of doing things just to replace the old corporate behemoths with new ones? What will the future business landscape look like? Perhaps we'll have hybrid implementations of public and private blockchains. Some projects have already envisioned this solution and are trying to build it into their business models. Maybe we can take a look to the auto industry for a useful example. Electric vehicles are widely proclaimed as the future, but currently we have a market with traditional cars running on gas, electric cars, and hybrids. This shows that innovation doesn't happen overnight in a way that it can completely replace pre-existing solutions. The Hyperledger project, which we introduced previously, puts it succinctly in its vision statement. Blockchain promises to change the way business is conducted and transactions are executed across industries. Precisely how and the pace at which each of these industries adopts blockchain will surely vary. Ultimately, there will be many public chains and millions of private chain distributed ledger systems designed for specific marketplaces. They will interoperate over standards and ideally use a common base of technology, much like how the Linux community uses the common kernel operating system. Potentially, each will have a different consensus mechanism, preferred smart contract language, and other unique characteristics. Well, as the saying goes, the future will tell. But let's go on and have a look at some practical examples of how blockchain business adoption is progressing. Then we'll discuss in detail the present issues the technology is facing and how they are being addressed, so public blockchains can get to the next level and solve the scalability, interoperability, privacy, and governance conundrum. We'll cover these important topics in the next sections. Stay tuned.